Hello, 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 and welcome to the Coronacast comedy show. Do not worry, there is not an invisible Deliso Chaponda. I have not perfected invisibility during the pandemic. This is actually just on the way to the show starting. The show will start within 2 minutes. The show is going to start in 2 minutes. So just chill out. Let me know if you're hearing me clearly. And the show is going to start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all having a good day. This is going to be a fun episode of the Coronacast comedy show, which will begin in all of 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear me loud and clear? Do you hear me loud and clear? I sound smooth as butter, says Munir Mere. Very good to hear. That sounds like flirting, but I'll take it. I'll take it. One cannot be picky during the pandemic. Hope your COVID times are not being too depressing for you. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a big round of applause as we welcome to the stage the host and writer of the Coronacast comedy show, Deliso Chaponda. Woohoo! Yes! 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 Oh my God! What deafening applause! Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Coronacast comedy show. Here with me, Deliso Chaponda, Malawian comedian extraordinaire without an audience. So during the times of COVID, instead entertains you people of the internet. Today's episode is going to be a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun. Actually, let me just change. Oh no, that sound should not have been there. Okay. Did you hear an echo? I heard an echo for a second. Do you hear an echo? Hopefully there's no echo. Okay. So this is what, let me just change that, get rid of that, put off that, and put that there. Excellent. So today's episode is riffing towards jokes. Riffing towards jokes, ladies and gentlemen. What is riffing? Okay, let me explain what riffing is. So comedians often, what we do when we are developing a new show, and I am currently developing a new, I keep bending over because I was picking up my notes. I'm developing the next series of my radio show, Citizen of Nowhere. So I'm writing a lot. I'm looking back at things which I wrote during the Coronacast last 130 episodes, and I'm saying, hey, maybe that could be expanded into something BBC radio worthy. Maybe that could be expanded into something. Maybe that's a good point. And I take all of those things and I mix them up. And riffing is when you have an idea, you're not sure if it's good, but you know there's something you find funny about it, and you go in front of an audience and you just kind of improvise around it. You riff until you find what you think is funny. So there is no live audience here, but that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be riffing around a few subjects which I want to expand on in my radio show. Hopefully it'll make you laugh. Please be responsive, because I'm a man standing alone in front of a bookcase, right? So if you find some part of when I'm riffing funny, please put LOLs in the chat. Please say more on that. That's interesting. Please be responsive. That way, it's a little bit of a back and forth. If you want to support the show financially, you should know that you can donate to the little link. Oh, there is no link. I'll put it up later on. It's kofi.com/Deliso Chaponda, or you can just look in the comments and there's the link there, or a Patreon. Now, when I riff in clubs, I always start with a good joke that I know is funny, just to get you started, and then I'll start riffing. Between every few jokes, I'll take a look at the chat. So everybody keep commenting, keep asking questions. I will get to you after the first 2 or 3 jokes. So I'm going to start with an old joke, and then we're going to start riffing. So the old joke is actually not even that old. I wrote it 2 months ago during the BLM thing, but it's one of the jokes which is definitely going to be in my next comedy special because I like it a lot. And it's about how during Black Lives Matter protests, I got so high in demand. Never been so high in demand. Television shows, radio shows, all calling me saying, hey, Deliso, come on. And the reason for this is, you might not know this, but anytime something black and bad happens, all of the television stations, all of the radio stations want to show that they're not racist. So black comedians like me get high in demand, which creates a situation where, on the one hand, I don't want racist things to happen, right? But on the other hand, it's really good for my career. Conflict of interest. It creates a situation that my heart is Martin Luther King. My heart is MLK, but my brain is KKK, just hoping for racism. Like, come on, come on. And it's not that I want terrible things to happen, right? When someone loses their life, the sweet spot for me is when a celebrity does something racist. Oh, I love it. And they have to do an apology, and I get to go on all the radio shows and give my 2 minutes. That's my hope. And the more high profile they are, the better it is, right? I'm just like, just do it, just do it, just do it. If Adele dropped the N-word, I'll have a TV show in a week. So that there is the old joke. Now let's get to the new jokes. Before the new jokes, let me take a look at the chat, and then I'm going to start riffing. Oh dear. This is why I need a producer, ladies and gentlemen. There's all sorts of technical hijinks going on. Hello, here we go. Oh, thank you, Munir. That is very flattering. I'm glad you enjoy my jokes. Sarah Hall, I will send you a message and I will order your book. I am definitely very curious. Poor Panda on top of the shelf says, Sarah Hall, it's very true. He is up there watching what's going on. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, joke number one, riffing number one. I want to talk about what's been going on. Some of you who follow what's happening in British politics may be aware of this, right? But pretty much over the last few days, there's been a little bit of controversy because the British Parliament has proposed a new law which violates the treaty which they signed, the Brexit deal which they signed in 2019. And if they do this new law, they will be violating international law, right? Because they'll be going against something which they signed last year, right? Now, Brandon Lewis, I believe his name is, no, his name can't be, Brandon Lewis. Would have been even funnier if his name was Brandon Lewis. But Brandon Lewis, who is one of the, said that it will be breaking international law, yes, but it will only be in a specific and limited way, which is a ridiculous defense. I mean, I wish he was my landlord, right? I would just pay him 50 quid less than the agreed amount that I meant to pay every rent and said, yes, I'm not paying the full rent, but I'm only in violation in a specific and limited way, right? Or if I get into a fight with him, just punch him in the nose, punch him in the lip and say, yes, I may have committed assault against you, but it was in a specific and limited way, right? So it's a lot of people have been talking about this like, you know, what actually happens if they renege the deal? What actually happens if you violate international law? Because if you actually think about it, international law is sort of, it's just almost like a polite agreement in that what's the punishment if you actually don't follow it? There is no gulag, there is no prison with ex-presidents, right, doing time. And you walk in and you talk to them and they're like, oh, whoa, what are you in here for? It's like, oh, I reneged on a trade deal. What about you? It's like, oh, you know, I just didn't pay the tariffs. You understand, right? It's like an agreement which both sides choose to honor, which people all over the world choose to honor in order to make trade and to make lives easier, right? There's no active punishment, right? Now, why do I say this? There is active punishment if you are poor and weak, right? If you actually look at practically when people violate international law, when do they get punished? It's when you are poor and you are weak. Because if you're a poor country or if you're a weak country, then they can impose sanctions against you. They can do things which actually affect you. They can choose not to trade with you, right? But then if you look at powerful countries generally do what they like. Like they will obey the treaties when it comes to other powerful nations, but generally they do what they like. Like, think of America. America and some of the possibly illegal wars which have been declared, which the UN said, don't go. And they're like, well, we're going to form a coalition of the willing, and we're going in anyway on a pretext. There's no way that they were actively punished because they are so powerful, because people still want the stuff which they're trading. If you consider Russia, for example, I wouldn't say that people trust Russia, right? But at the same time, they're very powerful, they're very wealthy, so people continue to do trade with them. Some people may say this is the case for China. If you are powerful, if you are wealthy, international law is something you choose to opt into. If you are poor, like Malawi, we obey all the rules, right? Like Malawi's obey, we are broke. We cannot handle you sanctioning us, so we will never violate any law. It's like this is how it works. Now, my thing to the British population, though, and to the British government is you are powerful now. You are considered wealthy now, right? So, right now, you could violate international law. It's not going to make a difference, but you've always got to understand that history has twists and turns, and you might not be so rich in 20, 30 years as you were now. You might not be as powerful as you were. And people remember if you are trustworthy or not. The best analog I can think of this is you've got to understand in the entertainment business, there are a lot of famous comedians, right? And there are a lot of comedians who aren't so famous. And it goes up and down. Some people stay famous, some people lose fame. Now, if you are one of the people who is famous and is lovely, there are famous people who are lovely, they're friendly, they still hang out with the people who are lower down, they're nice to the people who own the venues. If you hit upon hard times, if either you stop being funny or something happens, you lose your TV show or something like that, you will always find work. It might not be the same high paying work, but people will always work with you because they love you. But if you are a dick, and there are famous people who are dicks, if they're going down, they're really going down because we're all going to have a party. So all I'm saying is, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the lovely, famous person, the UK, or do you want to be the dick? Because as long as you've got power, you can break as many rules as you want. But we'll see what happens. So that's one of the sort of ideas I'm playing with. I've not really figured it out, but that's sort of one of the things which I may talk about on my radio show on an episode I am writing about broken treaties. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is in relationships. There's always this perilous moment where people decide to talk about their past relationships, right? And I don't know if any of you have done this where you ask the number. How many previous people have they slept with, right? And I think the ideal situation, this is a very dangerous question to ask, right? It's better to be almost more vague and say, have you had a lot of experience? Have you had a lot of less experience? But especially early on when you're very young, you want to know the number, right? And I always think that the ideal number, right, is when you two are close. So either both of you are very inexperienced and have one or two, or both of you have been the slut of the Western world and have 50 or 60. And I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying that as a positive. I am not shaming. I am impressed if you've got high numbers, okay? But if you're high and high, you both like, whoa! And you can both trade stories. You can both laugh about what happened and you can be brought together. If you're both low, you can both explore together. But if one of you is at 2 and one of you is at 52, that 50-person, oh, it becomes an issue. It becomes an issue. I got to admit, the first person who I slept with had like significantly more than me. Had I was on single digit. They were on double digits, approaching triple digits, right? Me plus one or two more would have brought them to triple digits. So I was on 1, they were on like 97. And oh my God, it tore me up inside. And I was so childish and insecure about it. And I made so many bad decisions because of that. And only later in life, as I've done some catching up, ladies and gentlemen, have I realized that it didn't matter. But when you're down on the low numbers, you think it matters so much. You think they're going to leave you for one of their hundreds. And on the flip side, they think there's no way you'll be happy with just them because you're going to want to catch up. And it becomes such an all-consuming thing. But numbers don't matter, especially because statistics lie. Anybody who knows politics knows statistics lie. Okay? Let me explain. Let me give you the perfect example. Okay? You would think that someone with a huge number has got a huge libido, and you're going to be like, I'm going to be having sex all the time, all the time, all the time. But I still remember being with one partner who had a huge number, right? And thinking, I want to be having lots of sex all the time, all the time. And then we started having a conversation, and their libido was kind of low. And they explained to me, they said, oh, you've got to understand, the only reason I slept with so many people is because I was really insecure. And I felt like I had to just sort of give it up in order that they appreciated me, in order that they didn't leave me. But I know that you love me for me. I know that you appreciate me, and I don't feel insecure around you. So I only, I've got to actually really want to be in the mood. I'm not gonna just do it because I'm feeling bad about myself. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's fine. I mean, like, you've gained a lot of weight the last week, and you've got a lot of acne, and I don't know if I could pull it off. I don't know what. I don't know. I'll have to rewrite the phrasing, but I think you can see the idea which I'm playing with. I need to get the wording very good, so that it's clear that I'm not just being a dick, but that I am being a dick, but I'm being a certain kind of dick because I don't think these things. But I'm trying to manipulate her to get her to cough it up. So in your chat, let me know if the punchline works, if you see the game which I'm playing, because that's one which I would normally do once, rewrite a bit, do again, rewrite a bit based on the laughs in the audience, right? Good. Okay, let's keep going. Another thing. Oh, wait. Let's see the chat before I go back to it. Okay, let's see. Give your shout out. Weird Demon 123. Give your shout out. Giving Weird Demon 123 a chat. He does gaming, so do check out his gaming. Excellent. Valorian likes the joke. I am glad you like that joke. And Jacqueline Boland says, ha ha ha. And Sean Alexander says, it needs a bit of work, but it's got to be great. Yes, excellent. So excellent. So very true. I think the thing is, how funny it is going to be based on what she's saying and how she explains, and how harsh I am in trying to make her insecure. So when I get that little balance right, the joke will work. Let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. Next thing is talking about your past, right? Actually, this isn't even a joke. This is more of an idea I want to sort of weave in. I do think it's interesting that bad experiences you have, bad, like traumatic experiences you have, often. Oh, hello. Do you need to pass? They didn't let you in?
Because it wasn't connected.
It wasn't connected?
Your picture is on the account.
My picture was on the account! God damn it!
Yeah, so. And the thing is, like, I told her, hey, my name's Delisa Traponda, and she just went with it.
She went with it, and then she saw the picture.
I think, like, it's like, because, like...
We're airing! Our fraud is being aired. It's all good. So Chelsea tried to, might as well tell you, tried to go to a gym using my little key card thing, but alas, was exposed as not being me because we don't look alike. Yeah. If she was black, it would have been fine.
Like when I told her Delisa Traponda, she just went with it. It's like, you can't see my face. If you can't see my face, I look mixed race.
Okay.
You can't see half my face.
Back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We attempted something and we failed. Okay, let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. What joke was I at? Well, either way, it got some ha-ha-has out of you. Okay, let's go on to the next subject, which I am going to be riffing around. So as I said, these are not jokes which are ready. These are ideas which I'm playing with, right? I was thinking about the fact that, scars and bad experiences in your past, whether like traumatic relationships you've been in, bad experiences in your past are horrible, but they weirdly help you get close to other people, right? Think about it. Like, think about how you got close, how you fell in love with the partner. One of the things which you really opens up and you suddenly feel so close to someone is when they tell you about a terrible experience which they went through, or a terrible partner they were with who did something horrible to them. Those bad experiences bond us, right? Always happen. Those bad experiences bond us. And I want to talk about this, and there are two possible ways I may go. One of them is, I'm not sure if I can talk about it, but I either want to talk about the time when someone tells you a scar which is so hardcore that this is exactly what I want to say. Okay, this is very important. If you're with someone who opens up and tells you something terrible which happened, do not say, "Oh, that's terrible. That's just like the time," and then insert your experience, because unless it is exactly the same, it is massively insulting. Usually, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. I'll be talking about people like, "Oh, when I was in primary school, I used to get beaten up because I was black." And then some white girl will be like, "Oh, that's terrible. That's like the time that I was at a party and everybody looked at me." And you're like, that shit's not the same. So if you're going to share a similar story, make sure it's the same, or just listen and say, "That's so bad." Hug them, get closer, but don't feel you need to compare experiences. Let them tell you theirs, and then tomorrow you tell them yours. Okay. That's sort of the joke I want to go to. Of course, when I perfect the joke, instead of using what really happened, I will make mine more extreme and I will make hers less extreme. But that's where we are. Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Sean Alexander says, "You think that empathy and compassion bonds us." I think you're right. Because maybe it's not the moment where you tell them the terrible thing that bonds you. It's their response. Because if you're with some heartless dick who you tell them about this horrible thing and they're just like, "That's life, get over it," I think you're walking out the door. So yes, you're right. It's the empathy that bonds you. LOL, Ahmed. LOL, I assume you have been in a very similar experience. It's interesting because I understand that impulse when someone shares a story that you want to share something from you too, but don't compare them. Okay, let's move on to the next subject. Something else which I want to riff on, want to expand on. I want to talk about African dictators, right? Because they're around. Do you want to pass? Do you want? I feel like I'm right in the way.
No, you're fine.
Okay. African dictators, right? There are 22 African dictators left. Okay, there are 22 African dictators, and I gotta tell you, I'm disappointed in the current African dictators. Because the old dictators were horrible, but they had swag, right? Say what you will about Gaddafi, but the man had swag. Dude had 30 virgin bodyguards, right? Say what you would about Idi Amin. Dude had swag. Yes, he was a horrible person, but he gave himself cool titles like, "I am the Lord of the beasts and all of the earth and all of the fishes of the sea and conqueror of the British Empire." He had swag and drama. The 22 dictators left in Africa have got all of the oppression and none of the swag. So if you're watching, I just want to put it out to all of the African dictators. This is what you need to do if you want to fill the full requirements, okay? Few suggestions. Number one, replace your national anthem with the song "All I Do Is Win, Win, Win," okay? Tip number two, Gaddafi only had 30 virgins. What you need to do is say that every virgin in the country is now your bodyguard, right? Even the babies, right? Everybody is your bodyguard. Number three, you need to build a statue in honor of your statues, okay? And finally, moonwalk into every room and make all your presidential decrees on TikTok, right? Add some swag to your game. Please do. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, I have another subject I wanted. I got to bring up Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is an ongoing subject in my comedy because he was one of my heroes when I was a kid, and then we found out that he was a horrible person, and it had quite an effect on me. And so he comes up. He's back again. 2 items. Okay, so the first one, to bring you guys up to date. Last time I brought him up, it had come out that in prison he is doing a man up program where he attempts to train other prisoners to be better citizens and better husbands. And I always thought, how can he be teaching you to be a better citizen and a better husband? What about all the raping, right? I don't see how he is qualified to make you a good citizen. I do not think that qualifies it. Now it's got more interesting. Okay, so outside of prison, he still has a big fan base. He's got fans who still support him, who put their money together on a GoFundMe, and they created a billboard, right? They created a billboard in his support. What's really funny is the people who they were paying, they raised a few $1,000s. They were paying to do the billboard, refused every single message which they said. So initially they were like, okay, we wanted to say Bill Cosby is innocent. And the people who made the billboard wanted the money, but they're like, fuck no, we're not printing that. Okay, they're like, okay. We wanted to put, we support Bill Cosby. No, what was the second one? Wait, I should have written it. But they went through several iterations. It was like, Bill Cosby's internet. We believe Bill Cosby. They said no. And then in the end, the only one that they agreed is we love Cosby. Okay, so they've got a billboard which says we love Cosby, which they've put all their money to put up so that in prison makes them feel a little better. And look, his fans who believe in him, more power to them. But it makes me think that I have got shit fans. Okay, I don't think you would. If I was in prison, you people watching the Coronacast, would you build? I'm not saying that I'm planning to do any of the Cosby behavior. I'll probably go to prison for something like, I don't know, not paying taxes or something like, I don't know. I'm going to go for a really unsexy crime. I'm going to go for, I don't know, a speeding or something like that. I'm just saying that when I'm in prison, I want a billboard too. Okay. So if you're watching, please get into it. Okay. Actually, I'm probably not going to develop that more, but I do think it's odd that they've built a billboard in his honor. Okay. Next thing. This is why I brought it up. Now I remember. I was, however, walking down the streets of Manchester. This is around before COVID, so around February. And someone approached me who recognized me. And he's like, hey, I'm a big fan, man. I'm a big fan. I used to watch you in prison. And I was just like, thanks, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, thank you. And we had a chat, and I kept wanting to ask him what his crime was. But then I was like, maybe I don't want to know what his crime was. I don't want to know that I am the comedian of choice of murderers. I'd rather think that I am the comedian of choice of bicycle thieves. That's what I want to think about, right? Only thing, though, is you've got to cultivate your prisoner fans, right? Because your prisoner fans are going to stand by you. If I'm ever canceled because I murder a person, most of you won't still be fans, but he's going to stick by me. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what you've got to say about that. Okay. Sean Alexander, wasn't it you last night who asked about the door to be closed? Yes, that was her who asked about that. Excellent. You need merch. You need merch first to stage a protest against my arrest, LOL. Okay, I need to look into the merch. Maybe I should make merch. This is maybe something I can do in the Coronacast because, I get not many donations. I appreciate everyone. Maybe merch is the way to go. I'm going to look into Deliso and Coronacast merch. Maybe I can even make like a panda merch or something like that. I'll look into merch. Okay, excellent. Here we go. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about why do we... Interesting. Okay, there are two more subjects. There's one I want to talk about. I'm not really sure. So some of you who watch Britain's Got Talent may be aware that Diversity did a performance. They did a performance which was about the entire year. It was about the coronavirus, and also because it was about big emotional moments. There was a lot of it was about the Black Lives Matter movement. They did a little bit of imagery. It was magnificently choreographed. It was emotional, and it triggered a lot of people. It triggered a lot of people. I don't want to call it. It triggered a lot of people who are very upset with politics interfering with their entertainment, right? And they just kept saying things like, "Oh my God, oh, why do you need to talk about this here? And this is so familiar to me because I have had this happen to me in comedy shows. Like, I've done a show, I'm doing lots of jokes, people are laughing, I'm talking about sex, they're happy. I'm talking about fingering, they're happy. I know when I was talking fingering, it's usually to do with sex, but no, I mentioned fingering in a non. I was talking about Kit Kats, okay? Well, anyway, I was talking about chocolates, fine. I was talking about sex, fine. I was talking about romance, fine. I was talking about religion, fine. And then you bring in something political and they lose their mind and they're like, why did you have to bring it? Look, we go out to get away from politics. We go out to get away from politics. It's such a weird thing. I'm like, they segregate their entertainment from thought? Oh, I'm not even sure how to express this, right? But to me, it seems rather arbitrary, right? Why is this just the one thing they don't want to categorize? Did they ever watch Yes, Prime Minister? Their minds would have exploded because that's comedy about politics. But thinking about why there's a lot of people, why do you need more polite? Sorry, wait. More polite. Okay. So somebody said to me, it's more polite to not talk about racism. I hate seeing people talk about race on Facebook. This is a really weird message I was sent. It's more polite to not talk about racism. But what if you're experiencing it? When someone is like being racist to me, the last thought of my mind is, oh, I need to be more polite. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Final thing which I want to riff a bit about is I want to talk to you because I'm writing an episode where I'm talking about history and I'm thinking about erasing history and why we erase history and so on so much. I was thinking about my first ever history teacher. This was in Swaziland. And there was an amazing history teacher called Mr. Malaza. Anyone who is watching, who is one of my old high school chums, may remember Mr. Malaza. And he used to begin every history class by saying, why do we study history? Not every class, every semester. If he did it every class, it would get repetitive. But he would say, why do we study history? And I say it like that because that's how he said it. He had this memorable way of speaking. And it makes me think that actually I passed my history exams not because I was intelligent, but because I couldn't get how he used to pronounce things and how he used to emphasize things out of my head. He was one hell of a character, right? If you were making a mess in the class, he would yell, I shall pounce on you like thunder. He was an absolute, yes, my history teacher was basically Moses, right? Moses with the 10 Commandments. But he got us thinking, and he was always talking about why do we study history, right? And I was like, why do we study history? Like, it used to be impressive to know stuff, right? If you knew facts and dates, it used to be really impressive at parties. You'd be known as intelligent. But now, everybody has in their pockets a bloody encyclopedia. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you, Wikipedia has killed banter. It's killed banter. Because you used to be able to chat, you'd throw in something you know. Now you have a bloody fact checker whipping up their phone every time you say something that sounds vaguely interesting. I hate it. And the other thing which I've noticed in this day and age is people will have opinions on stuff which they just see a bullet point on social media. So there's so many people who comment on a headline and you read a sentence and you're like, these fuckers didn't even read the article. And they'll have a passionate viewpoint. They'll have a viewpoint at a movie and they've clearly not watched the movie. I've had many people say that I wasn't funny who clearly haven't watched me do stand-up comedy. I mean, I have no proof of this. I'm just saying, like, how could you not love me? Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't phrase that right, but as you can imagine, I'm going to rewrite it. Thank you for being here for my riffing on the way to jokes. The joke version of these things will start to pop up as gigs are appearing. Just to let you know, This Saturday, I'm going to be at the Bombed Out Church in Liverpool doing a gig which includes Steve Royal, who was brilliant in the BGT semifinal this year. Amazing lineup. It's also got Neil Fitzmaurice, who was on Phoenix Nights. Amazing lineup. And Chris Cairns, who's genius. So if you are near Liverpool, consider coming out there, and you may hear proper versions of some of the ideas which I have been riffing. Also, there are other things coming up down the pipeline. There's going to be a little bit of shifting as we find out what exactly the government rules mean, but that's beyond Monday. The one on Saturday is certainly going on. And in the Coronacast on Monday, I will be sure to update you. There'll be one tomorrow and then one on Monday. Thank you so much for the support. Any of you who wants to support the show financially, the link is, let me put it up on screen. Don't go while I'm asking for money. You're here for the jokes. Okay, there you go. Where you see it says tip Deliso for the laughs, go to kofi.com/Deliso Chaponda. No donation is too small, right? You can donate me 50p. You can donate me 1p. You can donate me 1 Zimbabwean dollar, and I will not, and no tip is too large. If you are wealthy and you want to bankrupt yourself and get in trouble with your wife or husband, I am not preventing you from such bad decisions. This has been Deliso Chaponda. Have a very lovely evening. Good